Hello, it's Euan Studios, and this week we don't have a review. This week we have a battle of the brands. In this corner we have the Commonwealth figures, and in this corner we have the Mattel figures. We're going to be comparing each character one by one, and we're going to be comparing their goods and their bads. Let's start off with our first character being Red. And for these comparisons, I think I should mention that the Mattel figure will always be in the left hand, while the Commonwealth figure will always be in the right. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that these are quite different in scale. Like, notice this, the Mattel one is quite smaller, this one is bigger. This one's also a fair bit weightier since this is a solid figure, this is just like a rubber one. I can squeeze this one. But first, let's get on to looking at some more of the details. The underbellies, they both go about to the same place. This one has this CE here, which is like, this is like for UK things only. So if you're American, you have these, you won't have that logo there. And in the Mattel one, you have a hole because these are made of rubber. I have no idea why this isn't focusing. But looking at the faces, you can see that the eyebrows are pretty similar, but the Commonwealth one has black outlines around the eyes, which this one lacks. I think it should have had like an outline or something. Should it? No. It's got the indent. That's good enough here. But like it'll be accurate if it did have the line, but I'm not too fussed about it not being like painted. Looking at the beaks, this one obviously has a longer beak, it's a bigger figure. And looking at the tail feathers, the Commonwealth one has the tail feather sticking out, while the Mattel one has it sort of tucked in right here. And looking at the head feathers, they're also a little bit different. Like this one, the Commonwealth one has it going straight off to the left, while this one has it like sort of swooped going to the back. That's all the differences with Red. Right, now I forgot to mention the most important one. This one has the spots while this one doesn't. That's the biggest difference between these two. How could I forget that? If I were to choose a favourite here, like this one's accurate. This one's got more charm to it. If I had to choose a favourite, I'm going for the Mattel one. Mattel gets 1 point. Let's move on to our next figure being Blue. Alright, that's 1 point to Mattel. Let's move on to Blue. Here we have the Blues. We have the Mattel one and we have the Commonwealth one. Steve, I've mentioned all the outline stuff in the reviews, so I'm not going to repeat myself there. I feel like I did repeat myself with Red, but you can see like they pretty much all have the same differences, like the tail feathers tucked in here, the tail feather sticks out here. The head feathers are actually pretty much the same. They're both swooped to the back. And while we're up here, we can see that the lengths of the beaks in proportion to the birds, if I said that right, but it's about the same length in proportion to the birds. It's the facial expressions where these two are really different. Like this one, the Mattel one's looking straight ahead, while this one has a bit of a side eye going on. Also, due to the size of this one's pupils, it looks a bit mentally disturbed. And also, look at the colours. This one's a bit brighter, this one's a bit darker. This one's also a bit of a duller blue, this one's a bit of a brighter blue. If we're choosing a favourite here, I think we'll have to give another point to Mattel. Because like, this one's cute, this one was mortified. Yep, another point to Mattel. Let's move on to our next one, being Chuck. And here is Chuck, where we might have our first toss-up, because I really like both these figures. Like, again, the same differences with the tail feathers. The head feathers, the Commonwealth one has his head feathers like that. This Mattel one has them facing this way. The underbellies, this one goes a bit deeper than this one on the Mattel one. The beak length is again about the same proportion to the birds. Actually, they do look a bit yeah, this one's definitely a bit short in comparison to this one. In proportion, of course, because, you know, this one's a bigger figure and this one's a smaller figure. But they're pretty much the same shape. They're cones. This one's a more perfect cone, if I'm being honest. This one's a bit of a... dropped him. A bit of a squared off cone. Who am I giving the crown to here? Looking at both of them. I like the attitude on this one. This might be our first dub for Commonwealth. Yep, I'm going with Commonwealth Chuck here. I like that one. Let's move on to our next one, being Bob. And here we have the bombs. As you can see, they are kind of different. Like, you see this one has the painted eye bags, this one doesn't. And look at the beaks, like this one has a bit of a wider beak, this one not as wide. Just noticing this is out of frame, there we go. This one has a wider beak, this one has a wider beak, this one has a slimmer beak. I think I mentioned in the review, but I wish this one had a bit of a wider beak. This one's eyebrows are more red, this one's eyebrows are more orange. And the grey, the lighter grey on this one is more profound. Like, you can see it better than on here, where it's barely noticeable. It's more of a brownish grey on this one, if that makes any sense. This one's an easy one. I much prefer the Commonwealth one. I much prefer the Mattel one here. Like, it's just so good. It's especially noticeable on this one, but the Mattel ones are also a bit more matte, and these ones are a bit more shiny. Yeah, I'm going with this one. This one's good. I like this one. Let's move on to our next one, which is Matilda. And here's the Matildas. And yeah, these ones both have their good and their bad. Like this one, all of the lighter colour is like a bit of a green. This one does appear a bit greenish on here, but this is more grey here, which I feel is more accurate. But really, the eye bags should be yellow. It's the faces which is really drawing. It's tearing me on these. Like, I like the outlines on the Commonwealth one because like it's a white figure and it's got white eyes, so like the outlines help you differentiate the eyes from the body. But it's also the mouths. Like, I like the closed mouth on this one, but did I say mouths? I meant beaks, but I prefer the closed beak on this one. This one is more accurate to the original renders of Matilda in the original Angry Birds. Which one we going for? Which one we choosing? This is a hard decision. Commonwealth. I'm choosing Commonwealth. The Commonwealth one is better. It's just slightly better, just by a nudge for me. Yeah, Commonwealth gets another dub here. Let's move on to our next character. And here we have Howl, which I'm just gonna come right and say it. I'm not a fan of this Howl. Like, there's some good parts to it. Like, the underbelly is better than this one because it actually does it properly. It goes right into, it just does the underbelly better. This one goes right around, as we mentioned in the review. The tail feathers, again, keep slipping out my hand. Tail feather tucked in, head feathers. But we have a clear winner here. Like, this one looks a lot better than this one. I'm sorry, Mattel fans, but the Commonwealth one, it looks so much better. Just, it's the face. Look at the eyes. Like, this one, he looks like he's going to rob you. He looks friendly. I like this one. That's another dub for Commonwealth. And looking over the side, we have a tie. We have 3 Commonwealths that have won and 3 Mattels that have won. Let's move over to our next character. It's Terren, and here's another one where we have a clear winner. Like, he looks evil. I'm just gonna come around and say he looks evil. He looks like he'd hurt you. He looks just kinda like Terrence. Like, yeah. And also this one's tiny, like in comparison with the other figures from the line, this one's tiny. Like you can see it's the same size as the Commonwealth one. No, it's the same size as the Mattel one. The Commonwealth one is the same size as the Mattel one. And that's not really a good thing because, well, we saw that on all the other Commonwealth figures, the Commonwealth figure, it's bigger than the Mattel figure. These ones are the same size. So, yeah, you put those together, if you will. But you also see this one has more spots on it than this one. And the spots are more prevalent because they're more present, sorry. Since they are darker here. The only spots on this Terren, so like this one right here, if we can just get it to reflect in the light. And over here, wow, this one has spots going all around him. So like, they both have their good, but it's the faces it comes down to for me. I much prefer the faces on. I much prefer the face on this one. Yeah, the Mattel one gets the win here. Sorry, Commonwealth. They're great at plushies, but the figures, they're nice, they have their charm, but I think we should save this for the end. We have one final character to do. Let's get on to him. And we have the pigs here. And, yeah. This one has rings around the eyes, which they kind of make him look stoned, if I'm being honest. But this one also has a mouth. Well, this one doesn't have any mouth. Yep. And this one has painted insides of the ears. Well, this one doesn't have the painted insides of the ears. Painted snout here. This one only has the nostrils painted. And this one's eyebrows are darker. I'm just pointing out the differences here. Look around the back. We're just ignoring the info on the Commonwealth ones. We're just looking at them from the front. This one's another toss-up because they both have their goods and their bads. I think I'm going to go with the more friendly, innocent, dumb looking here. And dumb is a good thing because minion pigs are dumb. Yeah, like this one looks stoned. But yeah, he's going in the win pile. This one is going in this pile. And so let's bring out our winners, shall we? And so here's our victors. And as you can see, there's a clear winner. Mattel is the winner here. As you did see, Commonwealth did get close with their streak of 2 right here with Howl and Matilda. And they also got Chuck, which, yeah, they did pretty well. And don't take this video as me doggy on Commonwealth. The figures are very nice. They have their charm, and they're nice collectibles. You can hear about them more in my review. But I prefer the Mattel figures. I prefer them a lot of how they look. But yeah, Commonwealth should have stuck with plushies. Like it's nice to have their figures, but like their plushies are much better. Like I would have liked to see the figures continue, but having them focusing more on the plushies, yeah, that was the good move from Rovio. Back when Rovio made good decisions. So yeah, that's all for this video. Mattel won 5-3, and bye bye.